Welcome to one of my family members, Margaret McKay. Oh, yeah, you have the same name. Imagine that. Margaret, could you tell us where you live and the project that you want help thinking about facilitation for?
Yes, sorry. I live in Puebla, Mexico, and the project is about cleaning up the Atoyac River, which goes all through Puebla. It starts in the mountains, and then it has different points where it starts meeting and becomes a river, and it runs through all of Puebla. But the thing is that for many, many years, it's been contaminated, and it's being more contaminated every year because, I mean, everything just gets dumped there. Call it trash, it gets dumped there. If it's an industry, maybe a textile industry or a pottery industry, it gets dumped there. The wastewaters get dumped there. If it's in housings, whatever you let go through the drain in your house goes to the river.
Yeah.
And so it's not a healthy river. It's not a living river. It's a river that just has all kinds of pollutants in it.
This is a picture of the river, me climbing up on this bank right near your place. Can you see it?
Yeah.
And then there's another picture of it. So you can see actually how muddy it is. It's just, and it stinks too, right? You walk past it and you're smelling this horrible smell. And I thought, oh, that poor river. I just felt so sad when I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. It's a small river at that particular place, but I don't know, does it get larger at any place or?
It depends of the time of the year. It does get larger at some points, not much larger than that, but it depends a lot of the time of the year. I think when you came, it wasn't raining a lot. And also that's the other thing that I also think about, because in Mexico, there are so many places that already don't have enough water. And if the river isn't polluted, will they respect the river just to run? Probably that's a no. I mean, it used to be a lot of more water in the river, but now there's not so much. And I suspect it's because there must be taking, I mean, I know that they put in a system so that in some places of the city, the water from the rain doesn't go into the river anymore. It goes into a tank, and from there it goes to a treatment plant where they take it back into the houses. So
right.
that's what
they're doing. Diverted the water from the river into just collecting for human use. Yeah. And then there's definitely been droughts going on. Yeah. And I imagine it's even hard to just to talk about it, because it's such a precious resource, right? To have a river that runs through your city, and for it not to be viable. I mean, for it to be that noticeably dying.
Every time I went to the river, I would be sad every single day, because on my way to work, I have to pass by. My mom's house is right next to the river. My dad's house is right next to the river. All of my friends' houses are right next to the river. So I would be like depressed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't let it get to me every time I go to the river. Also, the park I walk at is a park that is it's like a walk that is beside the river. So I can't let it get to me like that. I let it get to me like in the way that I gotta do something about this. I can't just let it be, you know? So that's I turn it into motivation, not into sadness.
Yeah. Well, that's really, really, really smart of you. I'm still at the sadness part. But I'm so happy to be talking to you about potentially seeing what I can assist you with. And so your original request was, how do I facilitate people coming together to clean up this river, or something like that? Do you want to kind of repropose the question?
Repropose the question. I've been working a little bit, not too much. I must say not too much, because I haven't been able to do much. like at the company I work at, it's Ozono Polaris, and they specialize on what you call it, purifying water systems. So in the Department of Social Responsibility, we've been trying to take on the task of the river, and we divided the river in 5 zones, and we want to start where the river actually, where it borns, where it starts.
Yeah.
And that is a town called Santa Rita Tlahuapan. So as I've started talking about the river, and as I've started meeting people that are interested in the river, we've been seeing many different things. Like different people have many different interests, like political interest, or maybe they want to have resources for the river, but they want them for them. Or maybe like we were going a lot to Santa Rita Tlahuapan, and we were thinking maybe we could find resources for the river and download them to be able to act in Santa Rita Tlahuapan. And then the people from the town, from the little town, they started doing their own organization so that they can bring down the funds. I don't know how you say that in English. I know in Spanish it's bajar los recursos, so I'm saying it, translating it literally.
Well, sure. Probably would say fundraise, or you need to actually bring together a lot of money, right, in order to not only do the cleanup, but perhaps compensate people who have to install expensive systems or stop using a resource that they would normally have had access to.
Yeah. Anything you want to do, you need money. So you want to do fundraising, right? So first we ask the people at the town, like, what do you need, and what is the principal things that are contaminating the river in that particular town? There's not industry yet there. So what is contaminating the river at that point is human use. I mean, agriculture, and just all the housings that have their drains going into the river, the sewage, and what else? Trash. They don't have, in Mexico, the government picks up the trash, and then they take it to the place where they put all the trash.
Landfill, we call that.
To the landfill, but the town has to pay the landfill for each ton of trash they take. So because they don't have enough money to pay for the landfill, they don't go collect the garbage. Maybe once or twice a month they collect the garbage from the houses. So what people end up doing is that they dump their trash into the river, and it's like tons and tons and tons of trash, because I went there, I must have some pictures, and it's a huge mountain of trash being dumped into the river. So we were trying to see how to fix that, and one of the girls is very focused on transforming the community, but like in impacting on their way of living, let's say, on their customs. So she's going to the schools and trying to teach them about recycling and why they shouldn't be putting the trash into the river. But changing that culture is very, 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 very difficult, and she's doing that part. And then so it's a problem that, I mean, we've been working with Santa Rita Tlahuapan for about 2 years now, and I don't think we've made much progress. And I'm thinking,
then you can say, what resources do we have in place? What knowledge and skills do we have in place, and start to put in action groups and imagine the problems that you're going to face as well. So strategic planning is you vision first, and then you think of everything that's going to stop you from attaining this vision. And that's what we call the obstacles. And then you become strategic, and you think of all the actions you could take that will deal with the problems, the obstacles that could stop the vision. And then finally, you do very, very detailed action planning. But you come up with some overall strategies. So, I mean, that's a very basic model of facilitation to change something from condition A to condition D, you know. And so I think the key would be to work with people who feel empowered to say, hey, I know how to raise funds. I know I'm an artist. I can hold a concert to raise money. Oh, I know this politician. Let me go talk to that politician. Or, but people have to actually get really excited about the possibilities. That's where you're probably going to help the most, is to help them imagine something, a river that's alive again.
Okay.
So yeah, so you go, oh God, how do I do that?
No. I mean, I do have a lot of ideas of how to do it. I mean, I think that we can put together like an exposition of paintings that where artists, I mean, invite artists to imagine what the river would be like if it were alive, and make an exposition of paintings and invite people. I mean, I know that there is a lot of people who are already imagining it, you know, who are already wanting to do it, because as soon as I say, hey, I'm working on the Atoyac River and trying to find out a way to make it alive again, everybody is already like messaging me, calling me, telling me, hey, I'm interested in doing something. Hey, I'm interested in doing something. Hey, I would also like to do something. So it's not like it's not difficult to imagine that it will generate something and that I can motivate it, or that I can help people imagine what it would be like if it were alive, or whatever. And it is just once we get to the specifics of the actions, like, okay, you've got to do this or you've got to do that, that's where it gets difficult. Because as I have said, like, everybody has their own interest. So once you start talking about fundraising, they want it for themselves, or they want to be the ones who wear the badge. Like, I did this. And I don't care. I mean, anyone can wear the badge. Let's just do it, you know? And
so they want to get, when you say wear the badge, you mean they want to get acknowledged or given public recognition? Yeah, and so then every time something like that comes up, they say, well, yeah, but who's going to get the money if we fundraise it? Say, well, let's see how much. Everybody get together in your small interest group and think about like how much minimum money you need to get what you need, and then let's add that all up. Okay, so we need a budget of, you know, 1 million pesos, or probably more like 6 million, but then you can say, okay, so we're going to try and find the budget for the biggest needs to get us launched. And so you just keep having, you listen to people and say, well, what do you need? And then they have to get realistic, or what would help you feel recognized for your effort? Tell us what we can do. And then, so you just have to, lots of problems will come up. That's what happens when you imagine something new. All these reasons why you can't do it arise. And believe me, I'm struggling with that myself right now. And so you just keep thinking, you just keep asking, well, what do I need to overcome this obstacle? And you just get people to get it together in small groups of, you know, 4 or 5 people and talk about what do you need, and really listen to each other. And then have somebody repeat back, well, I'm hearing you say you need this, and then say, well, I could probably do with less, or at a minimum, I'd like this. And so you really get to what people really need, not what they want, and then so you keep building this sort of agreement and tell people right from the beginning, this is going to be super messy. There's going to be places where we have no idea what to do. But if we just keep talking to each other and listening to each other, not just like talking but literally sitting in a circle together and each taking, 2 minutes to be listened to. And you don't have to judge anything anyone says, but we're all going to have a lot of emotion around this because this is your life. We're talking about having to change something. But imagine now, instead of having to throw your trash over the bank into the river, you have somebody collect that trash for you, or you use less trash. We talk about how do we create less plastic pollution, or we don't throw toxic things. We have a place where we take our toxic chemicals, as you know, there's an obstacle at every place. But if you do it for this first zone, it's such a great example for the other parts of the river, right? They go, oh, we need to clean up our stretch too, because we're benefiting from the first part of the river that's cleaner now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just easier to go and throw it into the garbage. So that's why I was thinking, how do we make it easier for them to not throw it into the river?
And that's as a facilitator, I would literally ask that question. Let's brainstorm. We have a session on how can we throw less trash into the river, and everybody gets super creative. And they think and then they realize, as you said, well, but we have the system that doesn't help that. Okay, so how can we overcome that system, and what would be an incentive? And so people it's a big problem solving session. And so if you can get some agreement on step number 1 is throw less into the river. Okay, how can we do that? That's the problem solving session. And everybody gets excited because they're trying to solve a problem that they're involved with, Well, I realize I don't know if I'm willing to do that. Well, then what are you willing to do, in order to have this beautiful river alive again and hear the songbirds and just keep reminding them of the vision, So it's, that's why I love strategic planning, because it's very big picture, but you tackle all the individual problems. So you might say everyone's got this vision of a clean river, it starts there, and then you think of all the things that are going to stop us from having this clean river. Well, we're going to run into political barriers, you name it, that really clearly you're going to run into. The system isn't set up, for picking up trash. You're going to name all the things that are going to get in your way, and then you become very strategic about each of those things. Well, how do we deal with the political barriers? How do we deal with the system not making it easy for the average householder? And so you just tackle each thing. And as you say, you get the plan in place. You maybe take 6 months to develop this strategic plan, and then you slowly implement it over many years, and then you start to see systemic progress because you're all agreed on following this plan, more or less, obviously. When we don't think of it as alive anymore, it's harder to take action. So then you build a team around you as well, so that you're not alone.
Okay, that sounds good.
Good luck.
That sounds doable.
Yeah, you don't have to do everything. Just focus on what you want to do. And that's what I love the role of the facilitator, because the facilitator is the catalyst, doesn't do the work for the group. The group does the work because they are more confident at doing it. You're really good at energizing and motivating people and encouraging them. So that's your only job.